go ahead and call the meeting to order. O'clock. As for approval of last month's meeting.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I've read them, but Jackie,
I've read and signed.
I don't think I looked at them earlier. I said,
Vote unanimous. Here's your agenda.
Y'all need a agenda.
Thanks on them, Lisa.
Jimmy might want one. You got a
Agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, old business.
I'm sure our kids.
I didn't got one.
Oh, you know.
Tallulah.
Can I borrow?
I can share.
Thank you.
We'll share.
Okay.
I'll do the Tallulah sewer
Mm-hmm.
line,
Yes.
what's it?
Yes.
To the state, myself and Mike and the state, will meet sometime next week on there, because they was gonna get back with us. And I do know that, Mac, he is working on the, easements. And, should have in within the next 2 weeks. Once we get those easements, it'll be, just about be cut and dried. I'm sure the state's trying to be to get something done.
But did they say we could go up their line, or did they say anything about that yet? How, if we can go all the way up to 129?
But no, they not, I think that's, they was having to go back and touch base to see which side it would be, feasible for them to do where the building's placements was and everything. But,
We haven't had
hadn't had the full scale, sit down with all of
What
them.
we really want to do is, look at that private property.
Private property.
To see if they want it. I mean, if they take it.
You know, I have sent a letter to, the Kirkland property owners, and, then, I think they're basically waiting on, the preliminary, from, or anything from Mike on the easement. What I sent them was, just a letter, from myself, and just, a schematic drawing of kind of where, it would be ran on, with their property. And, the other picture kind of brought down who the property owners would be, it would be a crossing on. I sent them both pictures, and, those are the ones that we talked to extensively, that, him and his sister both said they wouldn't have no problem with it. And I have checked, it'll be about 1,200 foot of, water line that would have to be run down from the main road. But if we can connect there at the washes and run down, because, with a 1-inch line down to their driveway, because we just have to get it to their property line. And that would be probably more feasible for just that one connection, because it's already on down below. Anything else on old business? New business. Mike Warsack with McGill Associates, I'll turn it over to you to discuss this, water, sludge, water, dewatering.
Thank you. Yeah, the town last week received the formal letter. We already had received informal information back from Diener regarding the grant application. But
I got the original in mail yesterday.
Right. So, yes, so the town received a formal notification of the award of the grant for the sludgy water facility. Of course, this facility is something that was really planned from the very beginning of the new wastewater treatment project. It was planned, and an area was set aside on the plant site for it. When the wastewater plant was built and funded, we didn't have enough funds to do the sludgy watering facility, so we had to pull that out. But fortunately, with this additional grant money that we have now, we're able to put that back in. And this, of course, is a very common facility that's used in many different wastewater plants throughout Western North Carolina, using belt filter presses or other types of equipment to dewater the sludge is extremely common, and is really one of the more cost-effective ways to dewater sludge. And of course, it's done. The reason why it's important for the town of Robbinsville is because right now the town is having to haul liquid sludge for final disposal, and it's very costly because of the water that has to be hauled. So by being able to dewater the sludge will be significant savings in operational costs and disposal costs in that perspective. So it's a good thing. It's the next logical step of progression for the completion of the wastewater plant, to be able to properly and adequately deal and process the sludge that's generated from the process. And most plants in this area have to do that. And I just commend the town for having the foresight to proceed on with this next step. So with that notification we received from the state for the grant, the next step is to begin the engineering process of it, which will start out with the engineering report and then the design and permitting stage of it. So I've provided a scope of work proposal to the town for us to begin that process.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good. Anything, Jake?
Where's the closest one to us at now, Mike? Do you have any idea?
The closest one.
Maggie Valley?
Bryson City has a sludge dewatering press. Maggie Valley, of course, has the sludge dewatering press with the addition of the lime stabilization portion of it as well. Cage's got one, Clay County has one now. Tuckasegee Water and Sewer Authority has a dewatering facility. Waynesville's got one. Murphy has one.
Yes.
There's many in the area.
Fontana don't do it.
No, they're,
No.
Montana's basically the same boat that we are when it comes to sludge. We will be helping out Montana Village with our facility. They'll have to have it.
And as part of the engineering report process, we will also be reviewing at the town's request, adding a lime stabilization component to the project, which is very advantageous to taking the sludge to an even further treatment, which would make it into potentially a reusable, reclaimed product that could be used by the public to apply to their properties. So it's really a good thing to be able to take it to that next level. But I'd love to evaluate, see if the funding is available to do it.
I entertain it, but
Is there any way we can get that price down a bit on this? Right?
Yeah, we sort of take a look at it. Those were the budget numbers that we had in the grant application. That was what was in the budget for it.
I'll make a motion, and if we can work on it a little bit, we will, but go ahead and accept McGill's offer to engineer.
Second.
Unanimous?
No, we never have.
Did you get that? Jackie made a motion to proceed, yeah. Jan seconded it, Bobby, unanimous. Okay, I ain't got anything else.
I've got a little bit of literature, if y'all are interested in it. I know there's been some bad publicity on this project. I don't know where a lot of this is coming from, but I'd like to show you the process we're using now. We've got farmers looking to haul what we're calling processed sludge now. It's a liquid sludge, it stinks. We don't want this. Now, if they go to Diener and get their land applications, and they pass them, we don't have to go through any of this breakdown process. We can give them what we're doing now. I don't want to do that. I don't like it spread out everywhere. Environmentally, this is the best product that we can put out. It's called a Class A sludge. I wish everybody would take this. We've been running the plant up Maggie Valley for the last week. We've got 14 cattle farmers up there that grow all their hay on it. And what it allowed those guys to do, one guy, he spent $10,000 last year on fertilizer. That's 10 cows that he could have kept on his farm. That's 10 cows he could have fed his family with. Where the big odor issue come up, Maggie Valley's plant is about a half a mile from Johnson's Creek Elementary School. Trailer park with 70 trailers, camper trailers in it, is probably 150 yards up the road. I-40 is 312 feet from their processing plant. I mean, from the actual plant itself. I think y'all think we're putting in a composting plant. Composting has never been an issue for Rob. We will never compost. It stinks. We don't want it. We will not have it. We live in this town, and probably, I don't know, you've been here a long time, looked that way. I don't know how long, but we're not going to hurt this town with any foul odors, foul smell. But we do have a problem with tourists coming in right now. It is overrunning our plants. We are creating so much sludge in a 4-month period with all the motels and the bathrooms flushing. We can cut, last month we done about $10,000 in sludge. Good time. We can cut that down. The same amount that we paid $10,000 last month to process, we processed it for $800 at Maggie Valley's plant. Our drinking water, anybody on the drinking water system, we spend about $15,000 a year alum sludge. We can process alum sludge. So we cut out. This rates going up will be passed on to tourism-based businesses. You know, they're creating a lot of sludge. We don't want to do that. We'll price ourselves right out of the picture. But a town or county that ain't self-supporting and can't sustain what's coming in, we're in trouble. As of next year, we have to haul this sludge to Ball Ground, Georgia. Excuse me, I've had throat surgery, can't hardly talk, but we're probably looking at $90,000 getting it down there. We can do that, but we'd rather do it here at home. This plant will probably run every 2 months, 3 months. It'll run for about 6 hours to process 39. It don't run every day. In the wintertime, the plant will never run. We don't have tourists in the winter. The plant will never be fired up in the wintertime. So we're looking at 4 runs a year probably. Every bit of this stuff can go back out on the gardens and hay fields. It's a good product. Matter of fact, they're sitting with a cup of it in that shelf.
It's been up here for 3 days.
We leave it for 3 days where people can smell it. And I just done my yard with it.
Comments? Right.
Go right ahead.
Well, I probably got this thing stirred up with a short letter to the editor because based on the way I read it in the paper, it sounded to me though tankers are gonna be coming
Oh,
in
God,
here from
no.
outside municipalities.
We can't get a tanker into our site.
With icy roads and other considerations. I had visions of not only tankers running off the road and spilling their contents, which wouldn't be good for anything, but a huge amount of sludge coming in from other areas that's going to be processed. And it just was hard for me to imagine that this could be offloaded in any way without suddenly our town smelling terrible.
Well, I think I was misquoted on that. I was meaning whenever it was said about our neighboring counties and they are allowing, would be like if their system had failed, we as neighbors would help them and they would okay us to help them till they get their facility fixed, that we could take their sludge to keep them in line with their numbers and stuff with
If
stuff.
it hadn't been for Fontana Village, helping us out the previous year, their tourism base, they need sludge over there to keep their bugs working. And if it hadn't been for Fontana Village, we would done be hauling into Ball Ground or into Asheville. But you know, I don't blame y'all one bit. I've seen composting facilities in Florida that peat moss compost. My God, have mercy, you cannot even get close to them.
Yeah, I had thoughts that, every time you go through Canton on the way to Asheville, that sulfur odor permeates the car and,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
how and why would anybody go there and
But
stay
no,
there?
but those presses that Blue Ridge Paper Run gets a lot of bad publicity. Before they were running sludge, the paper process, the breakdown on that pulp, you're gonna get that smell with sludge or without. That's not the sludge that stinks.
That's the
at
lacquer
Canton.
part of it.
Yeah, that's the lactose that comes out of that thing. They run 24/7 presses up there. They never shut down. If they didn't have to have those other chemicals to break down, you would never smell sludge. We run sludge 24/7 in Graham County right now. 24/7, we run sludge. And I'd love to take y'all after this meeting and show you what sludge is and see if you can smell it. I mean, it's a matter of fact, we run it on both sides of you, Mr. Mortimer. At the headworks, we run 200-some thousand gallons a day of raw sewage, open air.
Oh, I know you're in my backyard.
Open air, yes, sir. Well, you're in our backyard. We're in backyards to each other. We gotta coexist here.
And we
But-
don't smell it.
No, sir,
We
you
don't smell
won't.
anything at all.
If you ever hear an
We want it
alarm,
to stay that way.
and that's the way it's gonna stay. That's why we built this plan, and all the aeration and all the chambers that we put in this new plan is to make us self-sufficient as a county. We want 10 more hotels built here. We want places for the motorcycles to lay down. That's our goal. I think that's our future. But without the proper facilities, we're not taking any more motels. Because we can't run these little old grannies' water and sewer bills up over here in Snydertown and on our hills and our local people. We want it to self-sustain itself. This gives us the opportunity to handle a product and do something good for the environment at the same time. Help our locals out, farmers. It's just a great project. I hope we got enough money to do it.
And it's a green project. I mean, basically, how much you're keeping out of the landfill.
Now, let me tell you this, Doug, when our sludge totals get so high, we start putting bad numbers out in the creek when that sludge gets so high. When we can't process any more sludge, and we can put out way worse numbers than we are now. Last month, we're non-detectable. Since we've had this project going, have we had any detections, any hits that I can't.
I don't believe so.
But our VODs and total suspendeds going back out in the creek last month, I will drink it. That's how clean it is. I would not never say that before,
I don't doubt you.
but
We're talking about sludge to fertilizer.
that's what we're talking about, sludge to water.
Misquoted or not,
Sludge to water is what we're talking about. That lake is our main goal.
Right.
Sludge is gonna be there as long as there's human beings. You won't stop it, I won't stop it. Now, how we handle it, whether it's press, land application, or haul it halfway across the country, it will be done. The only other thing we can do is turn our sewer plant back to where it's doing what the state says is okay, which is not clean to me. I don't want no BODs, I don't want no tests. We're gonna have some,
I believe you.
but the more we run, the harder we run this plant, the more sludge we're gonna put on it.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I got a statement I'd like to read. I'm on the agenda.
Yes.
Right, can I say, we're not to him yet, are we?
No.
Let me finish say something to Doug before we say this. I live close to it too. Remember, I live close to that other one that was tore out. I smelled it, son. And that's the reason I wanted down there to build another sewer plant, because I'm not gonna be a part of anything that's gonna stink up
I
town.
believe you. I
I
believe
mean,
you.
really, we really want to keep this clean, and I'm glad that the water we're putting back in the creek's cleaner than what's going down there now.
When you're ready, let me read my statement, and maybe it'll kind of put our
Okay.
position into,
Yeah.
you know, make it a little clear why we're so concerned.
Any more Alright,
Any of this literature y'all want, you're welcome to, and I do advise you to take it.
Definitely grab it
Yes.
before I leave. First of all, we're not trying to be antagonistic. We're not trying to start a big fight. You know, it's government and citizens, and we all need to just talk. And if there's misquotes,
Yes.
that's what we need to find out. We've read some things that are very concerning in that one article. The article came out May 29th, titled "Town Moves Ahead with Plan." We've read the following news, which was news to us, that got our interest and concerns. A grant for construction of a water treatment plant capable of converting sludge to fertilizer will lead to potential profits. Robbinsville is expected to get the go-ahead from the state to move forward within 30 days. The mayor said that once Robbinsville has its press built and working, Diener will require municipalities within the same district as Robbinsville to transport their sludge to Robbinsville for disposal. Diener will step in eventually and make them bring their sludge here. That's a quote. Now, if you don't think that is upset, come on. Now, if you're misquoted, great, that's what we need to know.
I was misquoted, I didn't quote it the way it should have been quoted. It's probably my error. I apologize for that. Meaning, my meaning there was that we would help our neighbors, and Diener would, because it would have to, anytime, our solid waste has to stay in Graham County unless you're hauling it and it's been broken down.
Now, what he's saying there.
Uh,
and
Our
we'll get to this
sludge.
quote on this.
Our sludge.
If the town's processed sludge that we process, aerated, anaerobic,
Mm-hmm.
it is ready to haul. Now, your
Yeah.
septic tank, once it goes to Graham County, after this dump station, or your camper trailers, or a pump and haul campground, once the town says we can't take that, we're gonna take them as long as we can get those pump and haul camp, every SST that the Forest Service owns on all these roads that the bikers use, we get it. And when they bring it in, they bring it in 6,000 gallons at a time. One big chunk comes at you. It's nasty, but it's 88% sludge. Ours is digested. So with us running this facility for the county, helping them, all these bikers, all these campgrounds, all these septic tanks in the whole county have to go through that plant. If they don't go through that plant, what Steve's trying to say is you cannot transfer that kind of sludge outside the geographic area. There's permits that these septic tank trucks have to match up. It come to Graham County. So without sludge processing and without that plant, no septic tanks here, which Diener would say, oh, we're gonna waive that, you can haul it to Asheville. You don't wanna pay $4,000 to haul your septic tank to Asheville. It would shut down Dill's Gap. They're pumping haul. We're taking Dill's Gap sludge right now. It would shut them down. They cannot haul that much sludge. They cannot treat that much sewer. Package plants is not gonna go in Graham County. They just can't, you just can't get them in. We got it's a big issue. It'll make or break this county. It'll make or break.
We're just concerned that it's done, we're just concerned that it's done right. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
All right, since according to the town officials quoted in the article, or misquoted,
Official. It wasn't official, it was official.
Official.
Yeah,
Me, the mayor.
this board didn't quote.
the town has the grant without any public meetings or opportunity for citizens to comment or ask questions. We started looking into what a sludge to fertilizer plant is. Got no idea. Sludge turns out is human waste. And looking at plants who have done this sort of thing, we found many towns who had horrible experiences with bad rotten egg odors which reached up to a mile away from the plants. health issues involving asthma and respiratory issues, and increased traffic from trucking bringing sludge in from other areas. The Environmental Protection Agency says the following: biosolids may have their own distinctive odor depending on the type of treatment. Some biosolids may have a slight sulfur and ammonia odor. Others have a stronger odor that may be offensive to some people. That's the EPA.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a
I have-
composting?
No, that is composting. Now, composting is totally
No
different.
different.
Also, that is the same kind of sludge we are holding right now. Without the aeration, without the water cap, and without decant, that thing will stink so bad you cannot stand. With the process of stabilizing that liquid, that old nasty liquid, into a powder, we do not have to risk the risk of losing a load up the road. We do not have to risk the risk of one farmer getting a permit to where he can apply it. And we wouldn't have to give it to him, but we wouldn't deny him. It's getting rid of sludge, but we're talking about soupy, nasty, they just run it all over the field. It's legal, you can do it. But it's strenuous to get it done. Sweetwater, Tennessee, they love it. All the Knoxville sludge comes to Sweetwater to the cattle farm in a liquid form. You can't even drive down the roads down there. Canton smells good to what this is compared to.
And the process of turning that into this other stuff, the process itself doesn't stink?
I've got pictures. I wished I could got them on a film where I could show you. I run that press up there for 3 days. You work less than 5 feet of finished product running your press. You can smell lime.
Finished product.
That is a finished product. We can eat that. You can eat it if you like to taste
I'd rather
it.
have chocolate.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I
Lime.
tasted of it.
Lime smell?
But this stuff cooks so fast when it comes out of this hopper, it heats up like 200 degrees.
But you have to be right on it.
Yeah.
And the cooking process doesn't stink?
No ma'am. No ma'am.
All right, well, let me finish up, because
Now this-
I'm trying to get to
It don't
where
smell like
y'all
nothing.
understand why we got upset.
Oh, we do understand that. We do. You gotta understand the idea that we had about $1 million thrown in our face. You better apply for it. We're not asking for public comment to apply. Now, we will have a meeting on this, but, we jumped on this before Andrews, North Carolina done. Andrews, North Carolina has to use drying beds right now. We don't wanna go to drying beds. That's digging a trench down there at the end of those sewer tanks, letting your sludge run out in it and dry naturally.
Ew.
Sometimes, if it rains, the humidity gets too bad, we're in there with a backhoe stirring that stuff. And it's nasty, it stinks.
Okay, let me continue. Then I got an email from Brenda Artis, who spoke to Mark Fowler, Facilities Director at the Cabarrus County Treatment Facility. He said that in the summer and with the most up-to-date odor control systems, the odor can extend up to a mile away from the facility. So we're getting more and more of this information.
You can't smell Canton a mile away from me, but
As the emails went around talking about possible issues with the plant, some responses from town officials were troubling. When addressing the issue of foul odors chasing away our tourists, in an email, an alderman said, "If it smells, we'll fix it." That statement tells us you don't know whether it's gonna smell or not.
we've been running it. We know, we're
But
not.
this is if it smells.
Yeah.
I think that's probably me, and if it smells, we'll cut it off.
Well,
That'll be up
we'll
quick.
cut
It'll be
it
cut
off.
off.
But if it
I
smells,
smell it one time,
if it
it's
smells,
gone.
it's gone.
Another email said, "We will do our best
Yeah.
to
That's all we
keep
can
the
do.
water and air clean and try to eliminate any odor that can be."
That's all we do.
Yeah,
That's all you can do?
yeah, that's all.
You
we
ever
do.
look, I mean, you
Well,
run a
I
sewer,
think what-
sewer
I
plant.
ought to be
Maybe-
good enough for you.
Maybe there needs to
Well,
be a
that's what I
study.
said that, I mean,
Mhm.
should-
Yeah.
Maybe there needs to be a
Does,
study.
they have studied this
that-
all over western North Carolina. They have put these
Dana-
plants in right in Maggie Valley. My God, son, hundreds of motorcycles. I mean, 300 feet
Diener's
off
not gonna
I-40.
put out something like that,
Jesus
okay, something like
Christ.
that,
they'll shut you down so fast it ain't funny. If your thermometer pulls 1 degree off on finished product, 1 degree, you can't. You have to recook it. I mean, it's such a good way of.
Would it be possible for those of us interested to to visit one of these places when they're doing the process?
I would,
Maybe as a group?
maybe they would,
Well,
maybe
if you-
Maggie let us come up. Maggie's not the reason it ain't good, they've got their headworks right beside their sludge plant. Their headworks is what they call is a bar screen that runs all the time. Palmetto, the golf course, that's the best one to go to. You're walking in it when you're on the greens. You know, they got a house up there that the driveway, 4 foot of the brick driveway costs more than my house did, and they're spreading it in their front yard, you know. Jesus Christ, it's,
What was that
Cattlemen's
like?
Association out of Waynesville is a good one to get with, and see how many cattle farmers are you, and how close to homes they are.
Let me answer that email. What was that last statement, Doug? One more time, let's go with that one. About doing our best, what was that?
We will do our best to keep the water and air clean and try to eliminate any odor that can be.
I mean, in the sewer plants, you're not gonna eliminate all the odor. I mean, it's just, when you got waste coming in, there's gonna be some stink somewhere.
For $800,000, you ought to be able to get something that doesn't, that
Well,
you know, going
Whenever
in
you go to your
doesn't stink.
bathroom, does it stink?
$500,000 of that is just a press. That is just a press.
I thought you had a
Eight
press- I
hundred
thought
thousand,
you
we
had a
do,
press that's
we
being
do,
redone.
we do.
We do.
If we use it, you know, we might come up with this press, that's why we're not cutting any corners on this project. But now, what we do wanna tell you and be upfront with you, Doug, is if you're gonna promote tourism, and you're gonna put your faith in tourism, you are gonna fix a facility to accommodate tourism. There's no other way. I mean,
All
this
we're-
is
all we're
more
saying is it the right
tourism based.
facility? Is it the right system?
Zoning
It's
system.
only
I hear the
Something
engineer,
better.
but I hear the
Zoning
engineer.
system.
It is the most common system that's used, I can tell you
That
that.
doesn't mean it's the best system.
And I would say it's the best system for this community.
Would you have others at a location within drivable distance that are up and functioning that maybe we could have a site visit there that would allay some of the concerns? Are there ones that are operating on a
That would be
functional
Yeah,
basis?
that'd be that'd be municipality that they would let you come.
You said something
I mean,
about Palmetto?
we could, yeah, Palmetto's got a great.
Where's that?
It's in Georgia. It's in Georgia. Palmetto Acres, is that the name
Is
of
that
the course?
Gainesville?
It's below Atlanta. It's
Below
Atlanta. But it's a great, I mean, it's a great system to look at. They also have what they call doghouse systems. They're running 25 homes off of one little box, and it's spitting it out into a barrel.
A system that would be as identical as possible of what's gonna happen here, so that we might see it, you know, when the raw sludge is coming in, and, I mean, raw sewer is coming in, and they're going through that process. You said it takes about 6 hours and such.
Yeah, all the raw sewage comes in, it don't run in, it's piped in through the roof. It's inside a building, just a
Okay.
little containment area for your press. None of the liquid is outside, it's all inside.
Okay.
I mean, it drops in the top of this press, and there's an agent you mix with it that thickens it, runs through the press, through the belt. All the water that comes out, that's pressed out, goes through the floor back into the sewer plant and is retreated. All the material, the sludge material, the solid part of it, is run through this belt press into a hopper, and it makes like a
Bale?
It is a black.
Does it make like a
Cake.
bale of?
It's a keg.
It's a
It's a
keg,
keg,
yeah.
and it piles up in a hopper, and out of this hopper, it mixes with lime, comes out the end, superheats.
Chemical reaction.
I took some good pictures, guys.
I think Bobby alluded to it before, I think you gotta realize that the sludge is already at the plant now.
The sludge is at the plant.
It's there.
That's it.
It don't.
It's being aerated in a liquid form in one of those compartments in those big circular tanks.
It don't smell no
Sludge
worse
is
than the
there.
plant does now. I mean, that's the same
It's
effect
the
you're gonna get.
process and
Same.
what we've read about.
Do y'all know Dave and Tabitha? They were kinda in the same theory y'all were till Monday night,
Dave Artis?
Dave Ortiz. And we was in a Heritage Festival meeting, and we would y'all like to go down too and walk through the sewer plant. And, we showed them the graphs of the tanks, the 2 tanks. And you can see in the graph where the sludge is stacked up, maybe a 8 off each tank.
This is finished product, you can see how hot
And,
it is. It'll smoke
They
70.
went on top
Don't
where the
smoke.
raw force is coming into the plant. And you can smell just a little bit of a
Inside.
sewer smell
Sludge.
if you, whenever you walk across it. But she was filming it on her camera and she's got 3 steps away and says, wow,
Pardon?
I can't smell nothing because it dissipates so
We're not
quick.
saying it smells.
Mhm.
We live right across the
Oh, I
road.
know.
We're not saying that. We're questioning the process and all the stuff that's all over the internet that there could be a problem. So I'm still
It
concerned.
is a great.
One issue that we have, we called the office here and we were told there are no records on any of it. Only a
Well,
letter.
we never had no record because everything that we had was put in on a grant application and sent directly to Rob.
By McGill.
Hmm?
Yes.
You don't have
Right.
a copy of that?
No.
I do.
Good for you.
Why wouldn't you have it? Anyway, here's a request for public records. We just wanna
Good for you,
know.
you're doing your homework, looks like.
We just
Jimmy
wanna
said
know
that,
that what's
Jimmy
being
said that
done
is not the highway
is,
patrol
being done right. Maybe there's
Just
something.
2 of y'all signed it.
Public shooting.
And I wish there's 100 here concerned.
But it's
Yeah,
not.
they
I wish there's 100 people
They
concerned.
qualify.
Everyone listed their
She said they might.
agreed to be
Somebody is public.
part of it. I signed it because I didn't want to pick up the record.
Now, I was misinformed, Jimmy, they told me it's highway patrol.
We can sign it if we need us to sign it.
If some of you want signatures from some of the people here, they can sign it as well.
No, we don't have any problems with that.
No.
Anything, we always do stuff
We can
open.
give you what we got to date. If you want what we got to date, I mean, but, you know, what, we are trying to save money here. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We are trying to save money.
On that, okay, on that.
And I
Whatever.
will go back to tourism, Doug, again, and I'm not saying this in a bad way.
I'm just spending a whole lot of money building cabins right
Hey,
there
we're
across
spending
from
a whole
your
lot of money
plant.
treating
You know,
sludge.
So, obviously I'm concerned.
Drinking water
And I
sludge is
believe-
worse than.
I believe you don't want it to stink. I do
Yeah.
believe you. But maybe there's a better way. Maybe there needs to be a study. Whatever happened to a municipality getting 3 bids on a major project?
What are you talking about? We ain't
I
bid
thought
yet.
that was required.
Yeah, we ain't bid. this
We ain't
product.
bidded it yet.
Yeah.
Well, all the paperwork from McGill,
We don't bid our
They get
engineer.
all-
That's
they
You
all
don't
we-
bid your
We don't bid
engineering.
our engineer. We never, you know, we won't. When they quit
Engineering
producing for us, we get rid of them.
engineering doesn't have to do that.
No,
Okay,
no.
that's my question.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying about infrastructure. The town can't grow
We can't.
without infrastructure that includes water and sewer. It just
Right.
can't go. It's not gonna happen.
No.
It'll stay the same, and the
No.
opportunities for business and growth and employing our youth and keeping people around and prosperity for the folks who live in the town and county stay the same if you can't build infrastructure. Yeah, I think all of us appreciate that.
Sure.
They were just concerns that we didn't understand, and maybe there was some misinformation that kind of obscured some of the finer points. And if there is an opportunity to actually go and see, I got, for me personally, that would be a great thing to allay any concerns. I mean, I know you don't have to do any
No,
of this,
we-
but I think that
I will try to see if Maggie will take us in. I would like to take you to another facility that does lime stabilization on it, that don't have their bar screen at the same facility, because you can smell a bar screen. Now, our bar screen is right beside the community building where the old green tank was at. So if you ever drive by there, if you ever smell anything, be sure to let us know. You haven't smelled anything in a year at that bar screen. But now Maggie's bar screen is just about 4 foot in the ground. So all their sewer coming from Maggie Valley is right on top of the ground. Ours is 30 feet in. So it's got it's got a trough in the bottom of it to sort of pour some of that smell with it when it goes through on that force main. But now if we start pumping, if this town has to haul wet sludge, honest to God, guys, We were looking at cutting the Forest Service off. We looked at it last year, saying we cannot handle it anymore. We can't take it. Bryson City will not take a septic tank out of their out in the county. The town will not take it anymore through their plan. We've got to keep that thing going, because if another campground's built,
Yeah.
we have got to keep the county's dump station out there for RVs, and it's not a treatment plant at all. It's an air plant. It liquefies it a little bit, and it sends it to us at our facility to treat it as sludge. They gotta work together. They gotta work together.
And there is a demand for the finished product, so that we don't end up with a mountain, even though it doesn't smell, but a mountain
The
of
breakdown.
solid that
now
we don't know what to do.
Let me tell you what the breakdown is on. You take a tractor trailer load of sludge. When you process liquid sludge, when you process, you got a pickup load. We will not be able to process enough sludge for the farmers in Graham County. Like I say, we'll be running probably, according to how many tourists come in, we'll run about every 2 months. It's the only time the plant will ever be crunk up, once every 2 months. The winter time, it'll never be far. This plant will probably be run 4 times a year, maybe 5. It's according to how many people we get coming in. It ain't like it's gonna be run every day. It will not be run every day. Now, if we've got a little extra sludge in those tanks, and the farmer come in and say, hey, I need some sludge, and we had it, we could probably run him a load and, run 2 days a week. But as far as running that thing constantly, every day, we
Do
can't do
they
it.
pay for the product?
We will give it away. It's cheaper on us to give it away. We process 36,000 gallons liquid sludge, send it to another entity. It costs us right at 7,000, man?
70,000.
8,000. After next year, 6 months from now, they will accept no more sludge. We have to make a decision. Do we haul it to Asheville, or do we haul it to Ball Ground, Georgia? I don't like anything going in a landfill that don't have to go in a landfill. I really don't. I think you ought to reuse anything you can reuse. That's just me. But that landfill's gonna fill up one of these days. And we're held hostage to their prices. If they go up to $80 a ton, we go up on the motel, $10 more a month on water bill and sewer bill. We can't do that. We'll price ourselves out of business. We gotta be able to take care of our own product at any given time.
And the private homeowners out here, the campgrounds that has the holding tanks that has to be pumped and stuff, rather than you paying a $300 or $400 pumping fee, you don't be looking at double or triple because of what's gonna have to be charged to the man that's hauling it to us.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, is how much are we gonna reduce that cost, because we do exactly that now, rather than wait for our septic systems to process, we just go ahead and pump. And we do that 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where we can cut the county a break. We can say, hey, we don't have to charge you that much. What we would like to be able to do is eventually, and we tried this before, but the Porta-John people and the Forest Service Porta-Johns were hauling in foreign objects like a 2x4 and rocks.
Beach house.
And we're not gonna put them in a $10,000 headwork, or $1 million headwork, $1 million headwork to tear that thing up. So we run it through a manual screen out there at their facility, which catches all that stuff. They have to bring it out manually. But at your facility, you could bring it to our headworks.
Right.
As long as we didn't flood it,
Do we know what that cost is gonna be?
We don't. Right now, I can't remember what we charge per gallon. It's like 7 cents to process. I think 7 cents per gallon that hauler that has to pass that on to you.
Sure.
But now when that hauler has to start taking that to Asheville,
Correct.
That's when
That's what they said, is they're having to haul it out of this area now, that Graham County wouldn't.
and it's against the law. It's against the law of what they're doing. When their
Out of our county?
when their permit gets pulled, their number gets pulled, they will pull their license.
Okay.
And it is, I mean, it's a trackable material. It's supposed to be tracked, unless they're going to the reservation with it. You could do that, I guess. Yeah. Each county's supposed to be able to take care of their own.
Okay, well, they're supposed to be bringing it to Graham County. That's
Right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're
Once
not,
they pick up in Graham County, it's
Yeah.
supposed to stay in Graham County unless duly
Not happening.
authorized to.
I don't think we have any, now, you might have a hauler that has a permit that can do that, but any local haulers in Graham County, they're not permitted to go outside the Graham County. And I know when our plants failed, we had to get Diener to give them a window of where they could haul outside of the county. But they didn't have anywhere to go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanna say for the record that for some reason got sat at this place, and I can just tell you that the air from the vent is coming in. I can smell that cup.
Probably
from
could,
here.
probably could right there.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
That's
And
pretty strong.
it's just a little tiny cup, so I wanna, for the record, say it does smell.
You can sit
Okay.
over here if you want to.
No,
Well,
I just.
I don't.
Well, Liz, I can smell it.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's an ammonia type smell.
Yeah, but it's not a feces smell that you're gonna, you can't, you can walk up to, Maggie there, like I say, Highway 40 is like 300 feet. You don't even know it is there. I mean, you don't even know it is there. One way or the other, we're gonna haul sludge. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, we're gonna haul it wet. When it busts us that we can't haul any more sludge, we're gonna put in drying beds. We don't have a choice. I mean, the town doesn't have a choice. The people don't have a choice. This is just the cleanest, most efficient way of getting rid of it. There's no other cleaner way. I don't think, you might put in a burner, but you all wouldn't like burners. That's gotta, I don't like burners on account of the scrubbers and the smell that comes out of those burners. That's the other cleanest way of getting rid of it, is the burner.
We
but
would
you
like
don't-
nothing better than for you, for the town to do it as economically as possible and make money if you can. But we want it to be
Yes.
the most efficient
Yes.
and have the least amount of impact in a negative fashion on the county.
You
And that's
won't know
all
we're
there
there.
for.
You won't, it'd be just like, so you won't know we're there. I mean, yeah.
Could you paint it green?
That's what we told them to pay. That's what we told them to pay.
We was when they green. That was a mix-up. Time we got down there, they had one base coat on and spraying again, didn't they?
We told them.
But we went olive.
Yeah, and it's they don't blend in very well.
Camo.
Well, that's what we said about those cabins over there too, across the creek. They don't blend. Can you camo them? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Hey, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, you can't see sewer plant neither with leaves on from the cabin. Can you really?
No, you can't.
Hey.
You really can't.
But I think we need to do some buffer, and that's a project that we won't do up the creek bank. I think we're gonna try to do Leland cypress, something to sort of block it off.
Yeah, Chris Bass.
Yeah,
I mean, I look, as I go by, when I go down to Millwoods, I look.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I can see it, but I know what I'm looking at, and I don't want anybody.
Now, when
else to
you're
know.
working in this plant, like I say, there's no respirators. You don't wear any respirators. The lime transaction is when the lime's going in, there's just a little puff of dust. I mean, it just for just a second. It ain't like it's a big flume. Your clothes don't get dirty. I mean, every aspect of it has got 3 people working within 5 feet of every bit of the project. I mean, it's just it's the way.
Will
I
you
mean, it's
employ
the
any
way.
more people to run it?
Whew. We, with losing Stanley Furniture, I doubt that very seriously. I doubt it. What it will give somebody the opportunity to do if John Boyd's got a spreader truck, he can pick this material up and take it out on snowbird to people's pastures and put it out for them for $150. That's the way they do it over there. Cattlemen love it. Where they were cutting, and this is just a rough estimate, 70 bales of hay off a half an acre, they're cutting 140. I mean, it just doubles agriculture. It's amazing what this stuff grows.
It's a nitrogen rich.
It's amazing what it grows.
And you would way rather them come to one of these plants and get a load of that versus going to that chicken plant over there and get some chicken manure that is legal to spread right straight out. If any of you's been down between Murphy and Andrews whenever they're doing it. And that's legal. I mean, if I'm your next door neighbor and I decide I'm gonna put that on my yard, there ain't a thing in this world that nobody can do. And we don't want that smell.
You know, with the
We
cost of
don't.
fertilizers, people's gonna go organic, they're gonna go to chicken manure everybody wants this sludge that we've got. It's digested sludge, it's treated sludge. I mean, like I say, with a little engineer work, we can put that out in fields right now. That's the cheapest way for us to get rid of it right now, is to haul it liquid, spread it over these pastures. That's the smelliest way for us to get rid of it right now too. But now, like I say, private industry, they can ask for it, we give it to them. I don't wanna give, I'd rather give it away in a granule. It's gonna cost us more to do granules than it is wet sludge. But I promise you, the town of Robbinsville, I don't care who's in it, all of them, there's not enough industry, there's not enough tax money, there's not enough sewer companies to haul this stuff out of our area. It's either gonna be dry bed, or it's gonna be, that's the two ways to get rid of. I take this anytime over dry bed.
We're just concerned that you've done your due diligence, that you've researched it.
We
that
didn't
you're
fly
getting
tonight.
the
We've been
best
working a year.
system
Yeah.
that you can get
Yeah.
with the least smell.
We have, I promise you, I mean, we have, and like I say, I was born and bred right here, scratched taters out my whole life in this little old town. Been fortunate enough to stay. God knows I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt it. I'm not gonna live in Canton.
I believe you.
Yeah, well, you better, cause I'm not.
No, same here.
But we have a lot of people that's on a fixed income, that's on this sewer system. They can't stand much more. You know, but before we got to getting all the tourists on motorcycles, and I'm not kicking them. We had sewer and water bills down there $35, $40. But we're generating a lot of island sludge out of that water plant. My God, have mercy. Whew. We can treat that now. We don't have to haul it out of here. The more water, the more poop, the more money. We pass it on to y'all, or we fix the problem. Let's fix the problem. Maggie Valley's great. It is good. I don't want you to go to Maggie Valley, but that's good to go to. If you could just put the bar screen out of the picture and not think about the bar screen, come in the bottom end of it, you don't even know it, but right there where they pouring out their bar screen right beside it. And I will go after this meeting, if y'all will take a trip, we might show you processed sludge and a bar screen. And I can show you the odor difference. It'll change your mind in a minute.
We know it doesn't
Yeah.
smell. That's not an issue.
You can't smell it from 10 feet. You can't smell it above it. You know, you just get it right above it, you can't smell it right now. I'd love for you to look at it.
I'd like to see it.
And I'll take you after the meeting.
Excuse me.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank y'all for coming.
Got
But
anybody else?
I wish,
This
I'd
is
say
a
100
big issue,
people
Dave.
there,
I'm telling you, this is a big issue.
Someone bigger.
This is a big issue, and it's an issue that I'm glad you brought it up. Because we're not gonna skimp a dime on this project. We
No.
got $8 million laying down
article
there.
in the paper that explains it really, really well.
I don't know if
Take that up to you?
Hey,
Okay.
I don't know if you explained that in the paper or not. People, you know, they get so turned around and one of them will dream it this way and the other will dream it that way. And by the time it gets back up to the dollar store, we're killing cats and eating chickens up here. I mean,
Oh, that's a whole
but this is the only
other
way. This is the only way that you're going to learn anything. Is come to this meeting, sit down and look a man in the eye and talk.
That's right.
And
And
you ain't
ask
gonna learn
questions.
nothing out of the paper. It'll tell you what Jimmy reports, but
Speaking for travel tourism, tourism is our base.
we got
That's our economic base.
yes,
Right.
And if we don't address being able to grow tourism in this town, we
Mhm.
might as well just
fold it
Right.
up. Fold it
Right.
up.
So whatever we do going forward needs to be
Tourism budget.
able to accommodate more motels, more
Yeah.
Right.
restaurants, you know, more sludge.
Yes.
So that's, I think, the concern, at least of Doug and I, since we have businesses that address that tourism, but as well as the rest of the tourist industry that's here, and the homeowners. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
taking
No,
out,
no,
you know,
no, sir, we can't. Right.
yeah, all of them, you know, their costs to, you know, for water and water treatment is passed on, you know, to everybody. So I think everybody's rightly concerned, and, you know, if we can address it, you know, with a process that simplifies and has side benefits and is cost effective, you know, we'd all like to know what the return on investment is. Obviously, if you're gonna spend $800,000 or $1 million, you'd like to know that it's gonna come back in some reasonable, you know, period of time.
Yeah.
And I think that would be something that, you know, should be explained to the county as
Yes,
well.
yes,
So, you know, cost is only relevant to return in my book.
yeah.
You know, if it's gonna repay itself in 5 years, I'm all for it. If it's gonna be 20, 30 years, you know, but, you know, what are your alternatives too?
Well, I will go back to this again, and for 1 month, we wet sludge, that's 36,000 gallons, we hauled off to keep our numbers good. We processed the same amount of sludge up there. Well, matter of fact, 39,000 gallons up there. We spent $7,000 hauling it out to a pretty close place. What we spent that day up there was $800 online and gave it away. So you figure 7,800.
But you're only gonna process 4 times a year, so you got.
Hopefully 4 times a year. Now,
Given the numbers.
given the numbers, July the 4th, if we get a swarm of people in here and they start, we start getting up,
Right.
one thing we won't have to hold it, and just wait on it, and then have to be real fast check. We can say, hey, we're gonna do 5,000 gallons today, you know, but we wouldn't do it. One thing we can't do, this might help you out, with Class A sludge, you have to leave it laying on the floor of that building 12 hours. It's gotta cook 12 hours, but it can't lay 36. You've got to have it off that floor, and you can't keep but 1 run. I mean, it ain't like you can stockpile a run and keep it a month. It's gotta be off that floor in 36 hours. Whether we give it to a farmer or we have to haul it ourselves to a landfill, you know. But it takes a tractor trailer load and makes a pickup load is the best way to look at it.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of effluent only compresses down to a minimal amount. It's like 20th of what its total volume is.
It's amazing. The people are hollering about the power bill to run this thing. We're paying the power bill now. The plant we put in, it's so efficient and it runs, you know, we tripled our power bill, more than tripled. But man, that water coming out, Jesus Christ, if it wasn't for a virus living in it, you could drink it. You could put Clorox in it and drink it right now. I
Well,
mean,
it's going right back into what, Santillan?
yes.
So
yes.
you wanted to make, you know, that's one of your premier
That is
housing
our-
projects in
That is our
Lakes.
goal.
Well, and two, see, we're not only checking it, and Dean are checking it. Town of Santilla's checking it also, because that's their livelihood too.
Sure.
And they're even coming up and checking right on top of where we're checking to make sure. And Diener didn't believe our output records. There's no way that you can be putting out that clean. And they sent 4 different people in here at the same time with their little beacons, and they got them. Hey, your numbers is right. They go 700 feet up the road and higher levels than what we're putting out.
Yeah, that's something we're proud of right there.
Yeah. That's something for people to be aware of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a drawing.
Most folks though really, most folks ain't interested, as long as they come over and flush. As long as they, but now let me tell you what, stop it up one time.
Yeah, back it up.
Down the road, about 2:15, get out of the bed, son, we got a problem. As long as that thing's flushing, nobody ever looks at
I'm a resort owner.
Oh,
I'm
you
well
know.
aware.
You own an Iron Horse?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to, clean the fan regularly.
Yeah.
I want to compliment y'all for thinking so positively about tourism, because in my view, and I think you might share it, if we could collectively wrap our minds around it, tourism and motorsports, motorcycle sports cars can be to us what Smoky Mountain Railroad is to Bryson.
That's right.
And we can
Exactly
benefit
right.
for it.
That's exactly what
If we
we
could
say.
just get our minds around capture points for the money,
Yeah.
Here's what we gotta
we
do.
would just take off like a rocket.
This is my little feeble mind going. We got that bike trail out there. We got some good hiking, and we got the catch and release fishing program out there. So when we get them here, we gotta give them stuff to do.
And spend money on
That's right. We gotta keep them in here.
it. Mm-hmm.
This has got to be their base. I know they're gonna ride the Cherokee or the
Yep.
Dragon or something. That's fine. Just come on back at night.
Yeah, come back,
Well,
stay and
that's-
spend money.
That's been the big $64,000 question, is how to keep here. We don't have enough housing as it is. If you want to add 10 hotels, you might.
Well, until we built this new sewer plant, we were under a moratorium
Right.
here. So
I
I mean,
understand it's the chicken or the egg,
yeah.
And the town itself had enough foresight, this board, these three you're looking at right here, had enough foresight to not do like what our predecessors had done with the Green Giant that we called it, the old system. They had enough foresight to look ahead. And you think, well, that's your sewer plant, what's fenced in? It's not. We've got enough property to build another tank that is, and we're not looking at 10 years down the road. We're looking, they was looking at 40, 50 years down the road, maybe. Another tank would, I mean,
I wish we could have done this as we've gotten through, but it's wired already at the end of the street.
We are set, we've got the underground plumbing to hook up a press, we done that when we done the tank, and we have the wiring, the
Got the
hub
valve
out there
there.
to pull our line.
We
We wanted top notch when we first done it, somebody shafted us out of $1 million, I don't remember who got it, but we didn't get it. We had in, I think it was 9 million, we lost $1 million.
That
Another
$3 million was a
$1
$6
million
million grant, and the federal government cut it in half.
Yeah. But we run, this $800,000, we just got wind of it, they were running it through. I mean, we didn't try to hide nothing from nobody, but we won't wait on anybody, we're gonna run in there and secure this money, and then we'll work the details out on this thing, but the press project itself, sludge project's been going on for a year with the old plant, looking at ways to, the best ways to get it out of here. I don't wanna bury any more of it, I don't, I'm telling you. We could ask for a site to bury, we'd have to put in monitoring wells, but I'm telling you, it will fill up so, and, I think it's a waste when you could use it.
and you can go to your county commissioner, and that's what the monitoring costs are for these old landfills that they have abandoned. It is remarkable how much, and it increases every year, the price, and I mean, all they're doing is just walking up to it and dropping a little beacon down that pipe right there and catching the water and pouring it in there. And right there, and they're gone.
How big of tanks do you have over at your place? Do you remember? You got,
20.
I've got,
probably got 4, don't you? 2,000
oh,
gallons
I've
each?
got, more than that. I've got 6,000 in one, and I've got 4 in another, and
Jeez,
I've got,
Christ.
3 or 4 that are like, 1,500 gallon things.
I bet.
We have a bunch of tanks,
Yeah,
so the cost to pump and to ship
yeah.
is a consideration. We just spent $2,000, and we spend that twice or 3 times a year,
Yeah.
just to make sure that our drain fields are, being maintained.
Man.
So the cost is is a great concern to me, and if it's gonna continue to go up. It isn't for people that are on, public works, but for me, it is a big
Yeah,
expense.
I tell you, Public Works is the water side is growing so high right now. Drinking water produces a sludge, an alum sludge. We've got a holding pond on Long Creek. Anything that's filtered through it with what you put in your water produces a sludge. And, just for it, last year, one pumping was $10,000. We should have pumped it 4 times, but we kept our numbers down. We keep more sludge up there than we should. State says it's okay, but we don't want to do that. It's so hard to get in there and have to work that thing. But with this plant, we can pump our 4 times a year if we need to and treat it. We can take it to the headworks, run it through, and put it through our sewer plant and treat it as sludge instead of having to haul it outside the geographic area. These big boys with MSD at Ball Ground, Georgia and places, they love us. They reeling us in, boys.
Sure.
They bought all the landfills up. They just bought Maggie Valley's landfill. They're begging for raw sludge, begging for it. They love it. Now, once they get you in and you don't have nowhere to go with it, no permits to, that's when they
Charge you
sock
what
it
they
to you.
want to charge
That's
you.
when they get you.
Sure,
So we can't let that happen here. This town cannot afford that.
sure.
We'll be broke in a year. We cannot afford that. Every dollar that can stay in mama's pocketbook's gotta stay in mama's pocketbook.
There you go.
We had 3 employees that sort of tried to take it on themselves to take a little shortcut on that sludge. They're waiting sentence in the federal court now.
They were looking at 5 years. That's
Don't take
another
no
good thing you
shortcuts
got on
with
your
any of this
side right
stuff.
there.
Right.
Great state of
Can't
North
afford it.
Carolina has got a new agency. It's called
Environment and stuff,
Environmental
you
Crime
can't,
Center. Any foul smell, odors, or stains, they have to investigate. You can't get away with nothing in the state of North Carolina when it comes to environment. If you do, you're lucky, and I like that.
Maybe the way it should be.
It is, I'm telling you. It's-
Anything else?
Anything else?
Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate you.
y'all
Anybody
welcome
want
to stay for the rest of our
take
meeting if you want
the
to.
I can be excused, and I will take you
I would do that. I'd like to get a copy of
right
Yeah.
now.
this, just to
Okay.
familiarize
This
myself.
this is the process we're doing now, treating
Okay.
our sewers.
Okay?
Boy, I like this one right here. This is lime stabilization. That's the myth busters. They
All
tell
right.
you the truth.
Yeah, good.
Fine, I have commitment this afternoon, but
Okay, any
is
day.
there another
Any
time
day.
that you might have?
You call up here or call my cell
Yeah.
phone and we'll take a trip,
Okay.
tour you all through it and
Um,
just sort of show you what we're getting rid of and how we're having to do it.
Get your cell phone number.
828-735-9364. Don't give that to Doug Morgan, he'll call me about 1 o'clock.
735.
I'm joking, Doug.
Nine, three,
Oh, I got you in my phone.
9364.
Well, thanks for letting us sit in.
Thank you all for coming.
The door's always open.
Yeah.
It's always open.
I was tempted as long as I could stand.
And I ride by you every time I go to my daughter's house anyway on Sawyer Street.
Stop in. Stop in, we're always there. We'll leave the light on for you.
Really nice.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Number 3 is Wheels and Water. Did you talk to Mitch today?
Here it is. Yeah, I've got, here's, I'm not sure he has it. Road it's still running high. It's something, we gotta
I
get
did talk to
something
him.
on record about it.
It's 124 last month. And the next bill coming up is gonna be 260.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
gonna have to do something.
Hey, listen,
What's he
I
doing?
talked, I talked to Mitch Cobb. He's supposed to be paying her water bill. So I told him he's going to have to pay her water bill. He said she's just not receiving enough money a month to pay any bills. I don't know what's going on.
Why is it so high?
Is this the same one you've been dealing with, the
Yeah.
elderly lady?
So she's in a predicament, you know,
Older lady, you know, and
They didn't cut all those spigots off, but just her
That
bathroom and the kitchen.
they
Well,
cut a
she's-
bunch off. But, you know, Mr. Colvin is responsible for her water bill. She was incompetent. I mean, she can't, somehow he said she's going to get her checks, cashing them and spending all her money, but I talked to Mitch Colvin today, said he would be in the, but he told you that last week too, or the week before, wanted it being on Monday. Oh,
we can't cut that.
Is-
No.
Did social services put him over her?
evidently, yeah. We need to figure out what's going on somehow. We can't cut that old lady's water off. I mean, she just, but we can't hold him responsible for it. I think it will be his, I mean, he's over
He's
those.
taking over, he needs to
Yeah,
step up.
I
He's
think,
paid to do, he's paid to watch out.
I think,
Well,
I can't remember the lady's name, Burl,
Amy Hobbs.
She's over the state part of it. If something happens to her, she can pay that
Hey,
stuff.
she can
If something
catch
happens,
up.
yeah.
She'll catch up with.
Oh, yeah, Amy said she would do it now, but now Mitch is administrator. He's supposed to be.
Well, no,
Puts us in a bad situation on her water bill.
is there any way that we could maybe dig down right there beside our house and right there at the meter?
No, that's.
Or does that have to be Mitch?
That's not our.
That's up to Mitch.
Well, but we need, I think it needs to be advised to me.
I told him that, dig it out and see if she got a leak or something.
Well, he told me that he could look inside the block and see what,
Yeah,
And that
she's
meter
so
don't
pitiful.
move 1 inch. It don't move an inch.
You see her standing in the door, I don't know what she's doing, I don't know.
and she's not
Somebody
really,
came by a few weeks ago and
she's not really flooding because she's having
gave her a
to
sob
be.
job that they didn't have the furniture in her house. She
Mm.
gave them her furniture,
Lord have
all her
mercy.
antiques. They took everything in her house.
That was a lot, I don't know.
Left her with nothing. Pitiful.
Well, apparently they've got, he's supposed to have I think what he told me, he had the downstairs, locked where she can't go downstairs no more. And there was a bathroom downstairs.
All of them? Ain't that the general rule of thumb? I don't know what we can do.
Well, he
He'll
called
just
over
have to
here,
come in and
He's got to pay
I
her
talked
bill.
to him,
pay her
but
bill.
then I reckon John
He'll
was
have
supposed to
to.
call him back about this, we was in this meeting.
We've been months
And I was just
in
wanting
this.
to know if he may have got that from him or got.
I do just want to commend you guys. I actually wrote a little blurb in when
Cause it's about
you've been dealing with this for months, and I have to say that as a town, it's very nice. I mean, how you've been dealing with this, and this is the way a town is supposed to treat, its people and work with them, and to take it situation by situation. I have to say, I've really enjoyed listening to your dealings with this.
We have to, I mean,
It's nice.
we'll be.
And see, her husband was married one time at Robbinsville. And Alderman,
You take care of your people.
Fernando.
Guys, let's get this dog over with.
Okay, Southern Software, Mandy.
That was that. That's their new proposal, if y'all wanna do that.
Let's
And I
look at
talked to, what?
Yeah.
I talked to Becky about it, and she did say they can convert the way we need it to be converted.
Okay.
That updated price is all, the whole system. Water payments, accounting, payroll, everything,
The taxes,
taxes.
We have to update it, I mean.
water
Ours,
taxes.
the one system we're on now is
Payroll,
dying
accounts
next year,
payable.
right?
Accounts, or all your pay, accounting,
We've got to have it.
Payable and receivable.
accounts payable and receivable,
I mean, that's water bills.
everything, and utilities.
No, but we talked to them some down there, but I don't know.
And that's come in and installing it and training and all that too.
That's training too, and a year's support.
Well, was what we already had, was it able to be able, could we use some of it converted? The one that we're not using, is there?
Convert, it's gonna be, y'all will be going to handheld meter reading.
We're gonna buy a bunch of meter readers.
No, we haven't.
We got them, we just ain't using
We
them.
got them.
That's
Think
included
about
to
it
get the
ourselves.
system rolling back again. That's to get the system completely going back into a complete conversion for the utility billing, payroll, accounting, taxes.
I think
What
that's
else did I
good.
say?
You,
Take it with you and read it, we'll table it.
he can read it in my glasses.
What are we paying Dave a month?
He don't come every month, or he don't
Or
come every
enough.
month. But his
But
is
the
right.
thing, the thing about Dave is, he knows it like the back of his hand.
Yeah, but
And
it's
he's not
gonna
getting
be-
12, he's not going from 12 to 11, he's going from 12 to 13, his age, and he's older,
Yeah, but
and
we
getting
have
older every day.
to-
And if something happens to him, hey, we're,
The reports that were needed and the state required, I guess, reports is changing, has been changing, and that's what we keep getting wrote up about. This way you're really not gonna get wrote up anymore because you're converting your system.
we got to-
that way they can really be tapped in too, right?
Who's got this right here? The county?
No,
No,
Is this the one that's compatible with the counties?
no, it's,
It's compatible, I mean, where they can bring the information as far as the tax information.
we don't,
Like the town property tax, like from Irma's?
Well, see, instead of getting it, say, in a format, the first year, of course, it has to be manually put
Manually.
in.
Right.
But I mean, from that time on, you get, instead of getting a printout, you get a little, that thingy.
Well, they're going
thing.
through a reevaluation over there right now. We're gonna have to go back and change it. We'd have to do back.
Well, I mean, if it changes, we have to change it every year.
We need to find out when that Irma and them's are doing that exactly, because they'll do it before they actually pass
We
it.
wouldn't have to pay for that.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying,
no.
we need to have it done.
You're right. exactly
And
right.
this is doing it 3 months later, I have to go do the
That's
whole
exactly right.
thing again.
That's exactly right.
Right, at that, once they get their, once they give me the tax roll, I mean, we have to we will have to enter that tax information, because it's not worth it to pay for that, for us to enter 200 people.
No, we do it ourselves.
How
Or
many
is it
parcels
tax?
though?
Do what?
How many parcels you talking about?
Well, there's 200 people, if the average person has 2 parcels,
No,
I mean,
no,
you-
businesses and every parcel, like everything.
just
I
got
know.
200 people.
There's 200 listings,
200
tax
accounts.
listings? Well, ain't nothing to worry about then. I'll second anything, if you wanna go with it.
I said we ought to, I'll make a motion that we go with this.
Amend it if you do.
If we got the money to do this,
No,
Well, no, but you got to.
Got to.
You can do it
Now,
now,
or
or you do it
wait till it
next
breaks
year.
and then have to do it next year.
can we do it January the 1st?
Well-
Would it be better to do it October
Well,
1st?
that,
No, it's better to do it July 1st, so we can get started.
Go ahead and get the
conversion
amendment
now
done
with
and-
the new budget year.
right.
Second.
That's basically what it amounts to.
Second one, are you?
I'm with y'all.
All right.
I've
You
seen
know,
broken
well,
wagon down the road with trouble.
Maybe something that
Gotta be done.
will put a little butter to this, with the second mailings and some phone calls. I have collected over 30, and me and the girls have collected over $35,000 in back
I
taxes.
paid for it. You take that.
Got $3,200
Don't do no
check
man.
yesterday.
Don't do no man, but you just
For
take
7 years.
$37,000 and pay for it cash.
That's good. They've done good.
And,
That's a good job.
I did ask about the county doing it, and they offered me us the same deal that they give Town of Santilla, and we're not gonna say take 50% of what you collect, no.
No.
So we can pay for this in 5
It's
years.
easier for my fingers do the walking, and for me to
Nice neighbors.
to a 50-cent stamp and a 8-cent letter.
I know.
Wow.
So, and you know, you'd be surprised. A lot of people think, well, you're damning me, but a lot of people would rather have a phone contact list and come on in and make this, because we don't want. We are going to
Do something.
do something, whether it be garnishment or small claims or whatever. Well, I appreciate your calling, and all. And there's a right way and wrong with that going with everything. So it is progressing, getting better and better. So.
Absolutely.
And like I said in that quote, we'll try to do our best.
Well, I will, for the people, do what is right. Try to do what is right.
You can quote me on that, Jim.
Insurance, number 5, resolution.
I didn't get, what do y'all,
We'll
he's
try to
not
do
got
our
a
best.
resolution, but what it is, you have to adopt a resolution because of a certain clause in our insurance, in order for
All
us
of
to
that.
keep our insurance, y'all have to adopt a resolution that Mac does not have. He was supposed to have, but he hadn't got it wrote up.
I've been looking
But-
at France Creek.
That's the only one, he just, it's.
Arlene Higgins don't even live in Graham County no more.
Who?
Arlene.
No, she gone.
And these two broke up. See, I don't know.
That's
Wait.
why I asked what was they done to the sign.
Some other people said they'd sign though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The boat shop people. Ain't that, wasn't that the boat shop
No,
people?
No,
They
they
did.
didn't come.
No.
I talked to them
Yes.
yesterday.
Oh.
He said that he was understanding that we were building a composting plant.
But as quick as Mac gets that to me,
Okay. Well, that just need to be tabled, so
well, it's
Are we-
sort of, it's one of them that
it's,
need,
This,
adopt the if it's states how, in other words, we can't keep our current insurance policy if we don't adopt a resolution due to the whole
Right.
state thing.
that's that mandated thing.
Well, I make a motion we do adopt that if the word.
I mean, he'll
correct
have
and
it, he
Yeah.
just doesn't
what is it,
have it.
what is it,
Some
what
owner
is it?
insurance, owner
Insurance.
insurance policies.
I said,
Just keep it as
Is it a
is.
medical?
Yeah.
Keep the medical, we had to have that resolution because ours had something different than the state did,
Way it was worded in,
according to abortions, what it is.
Motion, second,
yeah,
unanimous.
absolutely. Now, why is this, Jackie?
is there anything else that's come before the board?
Lisa, you got
Well, I
anything?
want to
Give
say
me-
something, I did.
Okay.
I got something.
I have one thing, that last resolution, the actual
Insurance.
final copy of it doesn't,
Mac does not have it.
Our
so-
attorney
Complete, yeah.
will be working on that.
you approved a resolution that you didn't see.
Yeah, we've seen it. We have seen it. We read it.
If it read, yeah.
I've not read it, I'm just,
No,
they have.
Okay, but
He's
the
gotta get it
final
over to us.
copy
The
that
final
Mac
has
was
to be read.
supposed to bring in,
it won't be approved if it's not right.
just to be true, just to be fair, the final copy that Mac hasn't brought in, they approved without seeing it.
I've
That is not
seen
what
it.
they said. They said it's based on the adoption of the resolution is being adopted based on stating what the state requires. The state requires if you have it's something about
So
the
you've seen the
abortion
state
law.
We've seen the
resolution,
state, Yes.
but you haven't seen the
We don't
Robbinsville
have-
tailored resolution.
Well, ours has to match theirs.
What the
Yeah.
state told
What
everybody
the
to
state
do.
says every municipality has to have in order to have this type of insurance. You've got to have this in your clause.
But the resolution don't give without a signature on it. If it
Right.
reads wrong, we don't have to sign it.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
want to make it and keep making it, charging us so much hour to, you know,
No.
we're not gonna do it.
Jackie, did you have something else?
Yeah, well, Larry Wiggins, did anybody hear anything on him?
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone.
He's back at work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we might send him something, card.
Yeah. I also talked about Sue Millsap's. She'd been in majorly bad shape in Asheville. They had to fly her. They thought they was going to fly her.
But she's doing better.
Mm-hmm.
They thought she had
Mhm.
fractured her back.
Back.
But it was old fractures. It'd been fractured for years, they said. So they're bringing in some kind of specialist, an infection specialist, so she had some kind of infection in her body.
Anything else? Lacey, you got anything? Oh, come on now. Get in front of the camera, not behind it. You got anything else?
No.
Jimmy?
Yep, I'm good.
Very good.
Alright. I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we